One of the top qualities I think you need as a mortgage broker is to be a really good storyteller, because essentially you're gathering all this information and having to tell an amazing story to be able to present and represent them to a lender for them to lend you hundreds of thousands of dollars, right?
Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us on In the House podcast. I am Tony Singh.
Welcome back. I'm Jenny Woon.
We have a very lovely and special guest today. We cannot wait to speak with her, Julie Tran, founder of West Mortgage Group. Julie, thank you for making time for us today.
Oh my God, thank you for having me on. It's such a pleasure and an honor.
For our listeners out there, Julie has graciously blocked off a little bit of time for us. She is a very successful woman and a mother of 5. Let that sit for a second.
Yes, I have 3 of my beautiful own babies, and I have 2 of the most handsome stepsons. So,
wow, this
5.
is 5. And this is precisely why we wanted to have you on the podcast today, to find out more about your business and more about how you get shit done.
Yes, I was actually, we're talking about it a little bit. And, you know, when they say that it takes a village, it really does take a village. And I'm just so blessed that I even have the opportunity to have a lot of people help me in our day to day. Yeah. So I'm blessed in that sense. But yeah, 5 kids, 2 dogs, a husband. It's a lot.
It's a lot. And a business. Okay. So we're going to intro it in with the question that we always ask our guests. What is your spirit animal?
Oh, you know, it's so funny is I listen to your guys' podcasts all the time.
Aww.
And I know that's one of the questions you asked. And I was just driving, not even thinking I was ever going to be on here. And I was like, what is my spirit animal? I've never thought about things like this. And you're going to laugh at what I say it is, but it's a gorilla.
Oh, explain.
And the reason is because of their demeanor, right? I mean, they are very, big types of animals, but they're very quiet. They're very calm, which I feel like I am pretty much calm most of the time. And they're not aggressive animals unless they have to be aggressive. Another thing about them is they are very family oriented, which is something that I am as well. So I just felt like, not necessarily the physique part of it, but definitely the demeanor of a gorilla.
Yes,
for sure.
No one has said gorilla.
No, I love it. I could see that about you. Yeah.
But no one's like Julie. So,
and just like, their dignity, you do everything with great morals, great standards. They have high dignity. And I think that's, one of the things that really resonated with me.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Julie, you actually own your own mortgage brokerage. So tell us how you got to that stage of getting into the business and then now owning the brokerage, and what made you decide to go out on your own.
Yes. So my journey started actually working at the bank pretty much right out of high school at 19. Started at the bank, did every rich role, assistant manager, financial planner. And then I had my daughter when I was 24 years old.
Wow.
So at that point, I'm like, okay, I need to find something that will give me the flexibility and make me more money, right? Is really what it came down to. And so then in 2008, I started as a mortgage specialist at the bank. Fast forward that to about 2019, so about 11 years after being a mortgage specialist, I came to a point where I realized, I can't help my clients the way I want to help them, right? I can give them one great option at the bank level, but not everybody fits into those types of, that the banking world. So in 2019, I decided to venture out to the dark side, as they would call it, the brokerage channel. And I joined as a managing partner for an amazing team with 2 guys who are pretty much still one of the best in the business. Within that year, I learned a lot. It's so different from the banking world into the brokerage channel world. I just couldn't believe how much of a difference it was. But I had 2 really great mentors who taught me a lot. There was a lot of self-realization with that year when I first joined as well. And one of the self-realization was, when you get into a partnership, it's essentially like a marriage almost, right? And you guys are each other's bosses. You guys have to be accountable for each other's roles. And one of the things I just couldn't figure out was, why am I not being able to give the same amount of time as my two business partners or to the role in the industry? And I think I was at a women's, mortgage brokering forum one time and, talking about their successes and their struggles. And a woman actually said, and she was kind of in the same position that I was, it was her and two other partners who were men. And, they were doing their weekly calendar meetings and scheduling them. And it happened to always seem to be at dinner time or at bedtime. So the woman goes to the two men, is like, hey, I don't have a wife at home. Right? Like, I am the wife,
100%.
I am the mom. And, it's great that we have all these meetings, but I can't attend because unfortunately I do have another job that I play a big part that I play at home. And then that really clicked in. It's like, okay, so that's why I can't put the time and the effort, because physically I just couldn't be there working 24/7 because I am a mom and I'm a wife at home. So that I felt like I wasn't doing my partners, a benefit by me not giving the time and energy into that. So that's really what transpired me to decide to leave and open up my own brokerage. And it's all me. So, I was able to work as much as I wanted to, put as much effort as I wanted to, market the way I wanted to, build the company that I wanted to. Right. And that's basically where the West came about.
West. Is there a reason behind the West name? And also, can you speak about the difference between going from financial institution to a mortgage brokerage?
Yeah, for sure. The West comes from I just wanted something very trendy, I guess I would say. So the West is what it was supposed to be. And I just felt like that fit. I mean, we're West Coast. And yeah, just the name happened to come up and it kind of stuck. Coming from a banking world to the broker channel world on the aspect of actually being a broker was so different. And the reason is, of course, I was at the bank for about 15 years. I built the relationships there. Everybody knew me there. I kind of had the bank as my backing. Whereas now I'm going into an industry where I don't know anybody, right? I don't know any of my underwriters. I don't have relationships with my lenders. I was fortunate enough to have really great mentors who taught me a lot and gave me a lot of the great relationships. But it's, instead of one lender or one underwriter or two underwriters that you deal with, you're dealing with 30 different lenders, 50 different underwriters, and they don't know who you are. So that was really the hardest part, is to be able to start those relationships, keep those relationships.
For sure. Can you walk us through how you built your team and how your team is structured?
Yeah, for sure. So the reason why the West came about was I really wanted to have people that had my core beliefs, had, the same values, the same foundations morally. So right now the West is we have 5 people. So myself, I also have June Ellen, who is my right-hand woman. She is my livelihood. She started off actually as a personal assistant for me, just because I was so busy. I needed somebody to help me with my emails and whatnot. And then she got quite interested in the business that I was doing. So then she became my underwriter.
Nice.
Her first year, she underwrote $50 million for me. First year
Amazing.
learning.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because
right?
of a great leader.
Thank you. I hope so. And I literally put her in the field. I'm like, okay. I mean, of course I was there to support and help, but at the same time, I gave her enough space to be able to learn things on her own. And I feel like that's what you really need to do as a leader, to let them know and learn on their own versus just giving them, the answers. So now she is also a mortgage broker. So she got her license, and she is out in the Okanagan. She lives in Kelowna, and she's really trying to build the West out there. And then, so that's, I have June, and then I have Tracy, who I just brought on to help with my commercial division. So I do mostly residentials, but I definitely do have some clients who need commercial financing, and it's very different. It's a lot more time consuming. So Tracy, who used to actually be a residential mortgage broker herself, she's opened up a couple brokerages herself as well.
Wow.
And then now is really just focusing on commercial. And she's amazing. She's great. So it's really nice to have somebody that really just focuses on commercial financing. I have Kim, who's my marketing manager. She helps me take care of the marketing aspect of it. And then I have another mortgage broker who is independent, still registered and licensed under the West, but solely independent.
The role of an underwriter, what exactly do they do on a daily?
They sit at their desk and make sure the deals are getting through because we're very, very paperwork heavy, right? And you just would believe the amount of paperwork sometimes that goes into an application. So you really have to be at your desk 24/7, talking to the underwriters, like the lender's underwriters, gathering paperwork, talking to the clients. So their role essentially is, so for example, I'll get a client. I meet with the client, have a conversation, see what they want to do. They send in all their paperwork to me. And then that's when June gets involved. She takes care of all the paperwork, meaning making sure we have the right application, documents, etc. Puts it together and then decides, okay, who are we going to go to get your application approved? Once we have the pre-approval, then they come see people like you guys and do the fun part and go, house shopping. Once they have an accepted offer, they'll come back to us, and that's when we finalize all their paperwork. So they essentially have to be at their desk pretty much full time, making sure that everything is put in place, because subject removals are within 2 or 3 days.
So putting this group of talented women together, what are some core qualities that you're seeking that I guess you guys all have in common? And what type of top qualities do you need as a mortgage broker?
Okay, so let's leave the woman aside from it for now. I'll go into discussion, but one of the top qualities I think you need as a mortgage broker is to be a really good storyteller. A really good, and of course, you got to hustle and all that fun other stuff, but you really have to be a good storyteller, because essentially you're gathering all this information, and everyone's lives are completely different. Gathering all this information and having to tell an amazing story to be able to present and represent them to a lender for them to lend you hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? Okay. So you really have to be a great storyteller, in the sense you're representing your clients in the right way possible, in the best way possible.
Question, when you're telling the story, so you're on the phone with the lender telling the story. Are you writing the story, telling the story? And your underwriter isn't the one that writes the story, right? Or tells the story?
We both do. So what happens is, say I meet a client, they're going to tell me, okay, this is what I'm looking for. This is my situation, right? Get all the information. We look at, because we don't actually talk to the underwriters, the lender's underwriters, when we're submitting an application. So everything has to be presented on paper properly, right? The application has to be presented. The story that we tell has to be represented properly, and then we submit that application to the lenders.
So I have a question about the story. Are there any trigger words or anything specific within an application when you're telling that story about a client that would make those, on the other end, yeah, we want to lend them money.
Or
we
no,
you lend them.
do not want to lend them.
Do not qualify.
Okay, well, I'm never going to say no. I'm never going to tell them why they should be qualified.
Of course, but I'm just curious.
You're trying to push it through. Yes.
Yeah, no, I always highlight the great points, right? There's something called the 5 C's, and I don't want to go too much details.
It's okay.
I'll just go into detail.
Oh, okay. So I always go by, this is really how I was taught. It's the 5 C's of lending. So there's 5 different criteria on why.
You're taking notes, right?
Yeah, I'm
okay.
I'll send you a whole slide.
Okay.
Oh yeah, we're recording this.
We do a first time home buyer seminar, and it doesn't have to be your first time. You can be buying properties over and over again. But if someone's never going to sit down with you and explain to you as to why you're getting approved, you're never going to know. So this really helps to let you know as a client what it is that the banks are looking for, because some people can have amazing income and just really bad credit, and you're still not going to get approved, and vice versa, right? So there's definitely 5 criteria that they look at, and credit bureau, income qualification, the client as a whole, are they a good client? Are they responsible? So that's what your whole story will tell you. And when I'm submitting an application, I will always highlight the great things, oh, their credit score is amazing. The score is 800. They pay their bills on time. So you're never going to have to worry about them not paying their bills on time. Or their income is amazing, even though their credit's not that great, but their income's amazing. They've had this job for 10 years. So I always highlight the best in the clients, and then maybe in little fine prints, what the not so good. But yeah.
You mentioned 5 C's of lending. So it was just so I understand, because this is very exciting information for people in the industry. Credit, income, client as a whole. And then were there 2 other ones?
So credit is one. Yeah. Collateral is another.
Collateral.
So collateral is
sense.
where you guys come in, because yes, the client may be great and amazing, but they're going to go out and buy this tear down house that is completely not livable. Then you're not going to get approved, because at the end of the day, if something happens to the clients and they're unable to pay their bills, the bank then has to come and foreclose and take that property over.
For sure.
Right. So
how can us as realtors help you do your job better?
Everyone's a little bit different. And I feel like with me is that as a realtor, I feel like you need to have trust in the people that you work with. Right. So no micromanaging, because the process in itself is already stressful enough. And to have a realtor continuously call you every day, hey, how's it going? Did you get this? Did you get that? Did you get, like,
stop calling your mortgage broker.
I don't do that. I let them work.
But when you work with someone you trust, you're not going to micromanage them, right?
Listen, and I think all we need to know is that it's done.
Right.
Like, I'm leaving it with you now. Let me know.
You probably don't want to get involved in the process, right? But
no, we just need to know that you know that what the deadline is, right? I'm like, is it going to be done by this deadline? Sure.
100%, right? And that's
well, the thing is that we think that our file is the most important than any other file that you have going in that queue.
And it is.
It is. See, that was the proper response.
It is, right? And especially when you have such a good connection with the realtors that you continuously work with, of course you're going to put them as priority, but because there was a relationship there.
Julie, what other roles are there that are available to someone who's looking to get into the mortgage business or industry?
I think, the way I started, I thought was a great way of starting is to apply at the banks first. And the reason why I say apply at the banks first is because you have that support. You're going to get a really good training program. Whereas if you worked for an independent broker, they might not have those training programs in place. So you're going to get the training program. You're going to get the backing from the banks, where sometimes they will send you applications on clients who need mortgages, right? And that's really how I started originally. So I think going that route is amazing. Once you learn what you need to do, once you feel comfortable, you've built that community of referrals, then go into the broker channel, because once you're on the broker channel, you're on your own.
So being on your own, what's the hardest thing about being on your own or as a mortgage broker that no one talks about?
I think as a mortgage broker in itself, the hardest thing is knowing that you ultimately are responsible for your client's livelihood. The minute you say, hey, remove those subjects, you're good to go, you're 110% responsible for that. And it could be, I can't even tell you how many countless nights, sleepless nights that I've had where I'm like, oh my God, did I do this right? Like, did I check all my I's and dots and all that, right? So I think ultimately being responsible for the client's, whole application sometimes falls on you. And that's something that we don't necessarily always talk about.
That's true.
That's a lot of responsibility.
That's a lot of weight to
carry.
It
is. Yes. It is, right? And I care so much that I would never want to put my client in a bad situation. And I will try every which way to make sure that this application goes through the minute I tell you that you're good to go.
Yeah.
Having said that, have you seen during COVID or even the down markets where there's high inflation and the cost of living is going up, have you seen any restructuring in the financial mortgages that with the clients that you've been dealing with, or have they lost their home at all? What kind of trends are you seeing just with your clients that you're working with?
I haven't seen anyone go into foreclosure yet, which is really, really great, because if you're on a variable rate, your payments have gone up significantly. And thankfully, a lot of the clients that we've had so far hasn't came back in a situation where they're like, okay, I need something to happen. There are a couple clients who came back and be like, okay, how can I stop my payments from increasing, right? Then we'll give them, and working from the bank level, actually, it's great to know, is because I knew all the different options. You can re-amortize your mortgage. For example, if you've had your mortgage for a while and you've been paying your mortgage down, and instead of a 25-year amortization, you're at a 15-year amortization. You can actually go to the bank and be like, I want to increase my amortization back up to the maximum, which will lower your mortgage payments, hopefully, and you don't have to do anything. There's no penalties. You don't have to go to the lawyer's office to do any of that. So there are little things here and there that can help you get by this tough market with the high interest rates. There's also things like refinance. If you're on a variable rate and you do a refinance, you are going to get charged a 3 months interest. But sometimes being able to access your equity out of your home and give you a buffer to get you through the next year or two is more significant than that penalty, right? And that's really why we build equity at the end of the day, is for times like this. And with any real estate investments or any investments at all, if you can hold through the bad times, you're going to be able to make money through the good times. And people just have to realize that, if you hold, you don't lose anything when you hold, per se.
Yeah. Being the team leader on your team, how do you encourage collaboration and open communication among your team members?
I definitely can. Communication is key. So the minute I wake up in the morning, June and I are on a call. We're like, what's going on today? We talk about the clients, we talk about our stresses, we talk about our successes. And I think having that personal connection really helps with having a collaboration through the team. Also having, events. We try to go to as much events together as possible, whether it be real estate events or award galas, and having that team community. And it really helps having a small team, to be honest, right? With the core values that you have, there's no politics, there's no drama, right? And if there is, you got to talk it out, girl.
Yeah, for sure.
There's none of that in our company. And that's really the reason why I created the West, is because I wanted to have the same type of people on my team that have the same values.
Yeah. You mentioned all these events that happen. Like, as realtors, we have tons of events that I'm sure you're also invited to as well, because we're kind of in the same referral business. What type of courses and events or networking functions are kind of reoccurring or like worthwhile for agents to actually sign up for, where they can see like a return on investment, or that it'll enhance their ability to do their business better?
I think there's two types of investment. I mean, of course, there's realtor investments that I tend to all the time. And the reason why I tend to realtor investments, because for us as a mortgage broker, that's where all of our referrals come from, right? So going to an event where there are a ton of realtors, you're going to get to meet different people. And that's part of getting the referrals. On the other aspect of mortgage brokering, there are events that happen annually where you will go and meet all the different lenders. And you'll have, all the top 10, 20 lenders there, where you can actually meet them on a face-to-face basis. You can get to know who their underwriters are. And that really helps with your application, because once you submit an application, you're just a name to them, unless they actually know how you look like and they've had previous relations with you. And I find that going to the events and showing, hey, this is who I am, and I'm not just a name, really helps when I need to submit an application, and that they know who you are. Then builds a little bit of trust. So I encourage all types, whatever events you can get out to, I highly encourage it.
Advice. Can you describe, we've all had them. Can you describe on your team when you guys had to navigate a very difficult client situation, and then how you kind of resolved it, or what the solution was?
Yeah, we do have them. We have them on a daily. But something really came to mind just recently. We helped a client who a couple of years ago got her and her husband a mortgage. And at that time, she was very obsolete, of course. She, just had the baby. Her husband and I were doing most of the talking and getting the application approved. Fast forward to a couple of years now, they're getting divorced. So that in itself is a very tough situation for her, and also having the baby as well. She reached back out to us just because she knew us from before. And there was a lot of hand holding, because not only is she going through this divorce, but as a woman, sometimes you don't really know your finances until you need to learn your finances. And that in itself was also a big, huge stepping stone for her. Lots of, late night calls, more so June. Thank you, June, for the late night calls with her, just talking her through it, saying, everything's going to be okay. This is going to fall within your budget, going through all the different options and scenarios with her. Yeah. Finally found a property, accepted offer, amazing, great. She goes to the bank, gets a bank draft. And as the banking world would have it, hey, come to us. Like, what are you getting a bank draft for? Why are you using your broker for? We're going to give you all these great rates and promise her the world. Yeah. So she comes, of course, back to us. At the end of the day, you got to do what's right for you, right? Comes back to us, hey, they're offering me this rate, which is a lot lower than what you're able to offer. What is it that you can do? Like, of course, I'm a single mom now. I need to save as much money as possible. Comes back to us. We were able to get her a better rate than what we got her originally, but still not enough to match and beat what the bank was offering. And really, at the end of the day, it's like, what? Of course, you got to do whatever's best for you. However, this is what I can offer you. This is the difference between the two rates and how much you're really saving. And at the end of the day, you have us. Right? Like you have us as a team to be there for you as we have been in the last few years. You know that, you can call us any time of the day at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock. We're going to pick up the phone and walk you off the cliff. So things like that really helped. And at the end of the day, she ended up staying with us.
Nice.
That's great.
So when this is actually something that I've never asked, when you're discounting rates or getting the rates lower, is it coming out of the mortgage broker's pocket or is it coming out of the lender's side?
Depends on who you have it with. So sometimes it will come out from the lender side because we have that great relationship with them and they're able to discount their rate a little bit to help keep our clients. This situation, it came out of our own pocket. So at the end of the day, I mean, even though it came out of our pocket, we've helped her. We've taken the time to help her. And if we can do it, we will do it.
Obviously, it's so important to have really good systems in place to streamline your workflow. Talking to June, you're talking to your assistants, and everybody needs kind of to be on the same page so that now you can just service your clients and work on the performance and productivity of that. What kind of like technology or software would be useful for a mortgage broker to apply to their business so that they are able to improve the mortgage process for their client and then in turn, like also for the internal team?
What we've been playing with recently, I feel like everybody's been playing with is we've been using Chat GPT.
Okay.
We just talked about that today.
And I mean, we've gone through so many different programs with them to see what was right for us. If there are some out there, a program's not going to have everything, but I find that recently what we've been using to help us with our business in the sense that we've used ChatGPT to even answer some of our clients' questions, where it's, we'll say, hey, can you write a paragraph explaining what the difference between an interest rate differential versus a 3 months interest penalty is. And bam, 2 seconds later, you get this whole paragraph, you fix it up a little bit, send it to the client, right? So little things like that really has helped. Even things like on Canva, they have something called Magic Designs, which you can put in there and be like, hey, can you create a 5-page presentation explaining why people should invest in Vancouver? And literally, same thing, bam, prints out a 5-page presentation on all the reasons why, stats, et cetera, and you use that to present to your clients. Another funny thing is even like the photography AI. I don't know if you guys have seen that, where you haven't. Okay, no. So there are some programs out there where you literally take the best 10 photos of yourself on your phone, say, put into the system, and it will spit out like 40 images of you. Mind you, all the 40 images aren't the best, but you might have one or two in there. And I feel like the way our industry is working is that everyone has to be a model these days, right? You got to be a model, you got to be an actress, an actor, and we don't always have time to take these amazing photo shoots all the time. I haven't used any of those AI photos, but it was very interesting just to see what it really spits out. So things like that, I think, has been helpful.
Yeah, I mean, I have like 10,000 plus photos. I don't know why I keep them, but and they all like there's 40 of them. That's the same photo. So that's cool. What's the app that you're using then for the photo one?
It was called Try It On. That's the only one that I've seen so far. Yeah.
Okay.
And I've seen other people, actually, I only know of that because I've seen other people use it. And I was like, whoa, those photos are amazing. I wouldn't even have knew the difference between, not a real photo and your photo. And then when I did, out of, I think you get 40, I got like one maybe. It was amazing.
So it needs a little bit of work. Okay.
Yes, it's in beta phase.
Not you. You don't need a lot of work. The AI system needs a lot of work. Okay.
I need more filters.
So before we get into your guys' offerings on the West Mortgage team, what you talked a lot about, attending events, networking, those kinds of things, putting a face to your guys' names, and that helps with your relationships within industry, which thereby allows you to help your clients. What strategies or other strategies do you guys employ to build that strong network of referral sources and establish and cement your reputation within the industry?
A lot of our business comes from realtors and existing clients. So from a realtor's perspective, one of the biggest strategies that I use is to make sure I have really good communication with my realtors throughout the whole process, right? Because that will really help. Number one, obviously, you as a realtor know exactly what's going on and you're not worried. And if there's anything that comes up in between versus waiting to the very last minute, we can work through those. And I feel like a lot of my realtors appreciate that, having the communication with them. Existing clients, I mean, I never go into a meeting saying, with someone I don't know and saying, hey, use me. I think you should use me because like that's completely opposite of what I do. What I do is I'll say, hey, like, are you using somebody right now to help with your finances? And if they say, yeah, I'm like, great, amazing. If something comes up and you honestly just need a second opinion, give me a call, right? No pressure. I feel like no pressure. I feel like you're only as good as how you prove yourself, right? And once we've completed a transaction, then I'll ask for the business afterwards. Be like, hey, we had a really good transaction together. Something happens in the near future, I hope you can use me. And also just, one of my biggest thing is I've been in the industry for 15 years and I've been successful at it still. And I think that in itself has proven, my track record. So that helps. That's one of my strategies. Absolutely. To be like, we've closed hundreds and millions of deals and we've seen it all. And I think it really helps when you know that you have someone that's experienced in the industry, because there's so many things that can go wrong.
In this real estate business, there's like 14, 15,000 realtors that we're competing against. I'm sure. What's the number of mortgage brokers that are in Lower Mainland? Do you even know?
I don't know, but probably just it's the same.
Probably the same.
Not important. But what sets you apart from other brokerages? And what mortgage brokers?
Mortgage brokers and the company as a whole. I think the difference with us is we're built on a foundation of all working moms, single moms, even at one point in time. I was a single mom for 5 years. June, Trace, we're all single moms. And I think one of the biggest things we bring to the table is empathy. And you don't see that a lot in our industry. Everything's go, 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 go. And if you don't empathize with clients, they feel intimidated. They don't feel respected. And those are one of the things that, being a mom, being a wife, being a woman that we have versus, I'm not going to say men, but right. And I think we bring a lot of that and understanding their situations and learning, helping them. And, a lot of times being a therapist to them.
I think that the mortgage brokerage industry and real estate sales industry is very similar for females, for sure, right? Because we're both service-based. So it's really interesting to hear what you have to say about your experience and like even your team of women that have been single moms, right? There's different things that you need to overcome, and even the way that you run your business, like the meetings in the evening. You guys have the check-in in the morning, right? So it works with your schedule.
Exactly.
But I guess in the landscape of the fact that we're dealing with contracts with time clauses, you guys are also affected by that. So there's the linear time component. How are you keeping up with even things like the changing mortgage rates and market trends in order to serve your clients? Because there was a portion of time where it was like literally rates were changing. Yeah. And then the lenders had different requirements. So how do you guys stay on top of all of that?
It's different. It's difficult for sure. I think you have to really adapt to the situation instead of fighting the situation. And I think that's what's going to make you successful. It's like the rates are going up. That's exactly what it is. And we're going to work on how to help with those changes versus working against those changes, right? When we do pre-approvals, we don't necessarily say, okay, you should go and buy a property for $2 million, even though you can afford it. But, let's be a little bit more conservative and buy it for 1.6. And that will help with any changes that come about, right? So just giving them a clear expectations of their situation instead of giving them a false hope, I think helps quite a bit. We educate ourselves quite a bit when it comes to the changes in the market and why there's changes in the market, inflation or the yield bonds or what's going on in the US. So we really educate ourselves so that we're able to give our clients the best advice possible, and even to give advice for future that we can see that would happen as far as like interest rates.
Yeah. What are your long-term goals for your brokerage? Grow to like 50 mortgage brokers.
It was never my intent to grow the company expense a lot, because I feel like I'm chasing the quality versus the quantity. And there's brokerages who have hundreds and hundreds of agents, but it's not like you make that much more like make more money having hundreds of agents. It's what you're giving up is a lot of your time and your freedom, and that's not something I wanted to do originally. So when I opened up the West, because I have a family, and that's my main priority is my family, and I wanted to be able to have the freedom of that. So I do definitely intend to expand. Like June's out right now in the Okanagan, so she's definitely expanding the business out there. I'm hoping one day to even be in Alberta. Just because the applications are so much easier in Alberta than
Limitless.
it is in BC.
Let's go. Yes.
Right. And definitely commercial financing is another one that we're looking at expanding as well.
You are an inspiration.
No, thank you. You guys are an inspiration. Thank you.
I just want to also add that so you are sister of David Tran, who is at my broker. So I want to give a shout out to David.
Hi, David.
Right? I swear he was born for it. It's so funny.
He is so good. He is so good.
So good. And even him doing videos, I'm like, oh my God, how are you even doing those already? And so good at it.
I'm pushing him. I talk to him every Monday mornings. That's our accountability check-in. And he's doing so well. I'm so proud of him. At the same time,
he's got an amazing mentor.
Thank you. But I think he's willing to try things, and that's the great thing about being a new agent is that he's willing to try things. So I just wanted to give a shout out to David.
He deserves a shout out. Yeah. Thanks for introducing us to your awesome sister.
Okay, so question: Do you have a minute for our 5 rapid fire questions?
Oh, yes. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Which you knew obviously was coming because you've been listening to our podcast.
I totally forgot about that part.
What's the most unique property that you've ever helped a client secure financing for?
The most unique property. I wouldn't say it's unique, but it's things that we don't actually have in Vancouver. And this has just come to mind because we did it a couple of days ago. People who've had homes with 2 separate strata lots, but are actually one home. And that's something that we don't ever see in Vancouver because there's not enough land to begin with. But this was in a more of a rural area. And they have this massive 1-acre home, but it's 2 separate strata lots, 2 separate titles, but the home is basically right in the middle of the 2.
Okay. Oh,
and it was kind of, I think, it was like a buy one, get one free situation at the time. And it's been many years. There was never a mortgage on it, and now they're selling it. And we came into a situation where like, okay, how do we do this? And funny enough, a lot of banks won't approve a 2-title situation unless they actually go and combine it into one lot, strata lot before the completion happens.
I know it's supposed to be rapid fire questions, but why won't they finance the 2?
Because they're considered 2 separate. So it's like as if you're buying 2 lots. Right. The banks won't do any type of inter alia. So you have to have one lot for the bank to actually put a mortgage on it. And that's at the banking level.
Yeah, that's a restriction it's on their end.
Yeah, but we worked around that.
Okay. I was going to, you're nicer than me. I was going to say because banks are rigid. They don't like anything outside of the norm.
Hence why.
That's why you need creative
She's
solutions.
on her best behavior. It's her first episode with us. Second episode that she comes on, it's all swear words.
Okay. I do swear. What's the craziest mortgage myth that you have ever heard from one of your clients?
The mortgage myth?
Yeah. Or like demand. Or demand.
Or sure, either works.
That I ever heard from a client. Oh, I just spoke the other day. So I had a first-time home buyers. I know all these crazy things are coming up. And I had a conversation with her because she's going to buy this home. She's going to sell it, in the next year or so. And we put her into a variable rate. Now she's coming back and be like, nope, I never told you I wanted a variable rate. I wanted a fixed rate. Show me that, there was documentation saying that, I wanted a variable rate instead of a fixed. And then at that time, of course, we were complaining because the rates are going up. But at the time, I had a bunch of documentation. Like, okay, here you go. We've had multiple conversations. You signed with the bank. You signed with the lawyers. We all explained what type of rate you had.
So you said, here you go. This is proof that you wanted that, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, because that's what I would do.
Yeah.
If you could give one piece of advice for a first-time buyer, what would it be?
Set yourself up with a great mortgage broker.
Okay.
That's experience, because your first transaction can really give you either a great feeling or a bad taste in your mouth.
So
So
true.
make sure you're dealing with a very experienced, respectable person, because that's who's responsible for your end financing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Describe yourself in 3 words.
Oh gosh. Like a gorilla? I think I try to be as lighthearted as possible. Never really too serious. I try to not let a lot of things stress me out. And that's actually thanks to my amazing husband who's taught me that, because otherwise I wouldn't. And just have fun with things, and everything can be fixed. So that's one of the things I've learned. And I used to have a lot of actually anxiety coming into the business, and realizing, you know what, everything can be fixed.
Good advice. If you were not a mortgage broker, what career would you be pursuing?
Well, the last things that came up recently was I wanted to open up a flower shop.
Oh,
And why not?
I don't know
Why
if that's
you could still do that
yeah.
right. I don't know if
as
it's because
well.
I'm getting older, and it's like, I love adore flowers, and I tell Steve all that time, like, I'm gonna have a storefront, beautiful flower shop one day.
Okay, that's good.
That's a good answer. I enjoy flowers as well.
Yeah, it makes everyone feel good.
Yeah.
Our last question, where can our listeners find you if they would like to talk to you about a new mortgage, refinancing, potential clients for you, or even our realtor listeners who might want to refer you some of their clients?
Yeah, absolutely. We can, social media, of course. We are on Instagram, West Mortgage Group. That's our handle. I'm pretty sure that's our handle. Or our website, westmortgagegroup.com.
Okay.
Perfect.
All of our information is on there. My information, June's information, Tracy's information.
And do you have any upcoming workshops or speaking engagements or anything that you're putting on that maybe some of our listeners can tune into?
We normally do a first-time home buyer seminar with some of realtors that we deal with as well. We haven't had one in place yet, but you'll definitely be seeing. Just follow our Instagram, social media. I post a lot of stories on there, events that we do on there, and how to register.
Okay.
And we
amazing.
do a great first-time home buyers. It really goes through the whole entire process of how you get approved, and gives you so much information.
Well, thank you so much, Julie, founder of West Mortgage Group. It was such a pleasure to talk to you, and
Thank you.
we can't wait to see you. Actually, I want to mention one more thing. We are going to have Julie on as one of our major sponsors at our upcoming podcast live event. Stay tuned for more details about that, but we really, really appreciate you coming out and supporting our business as well, and we will definitely make sure that we are highlighting your business at that event.
Thank you so much. It was such an honor and such a pleasure today.
Thank you.
Thanks, Julie.
Thank you.